to the Covered Podcast. I am your host, Maya Guren, and on this show, we discuss women and how we are showing up in the world. Today's guest, this is the first time having two people on the show to have a conversation. Today's guests are Davina and Tracy Okonkwo, authors of Before We Become Extinct. Their goal is to promote discussion and thought among Black women surrounding self-image. Their book and YouTube channel ultimately seek to restore the self-image of Black women by empowering them to embrace their natural and unique beauty by awakening and educating them on the very special identity that they have. Please welcome Tracy and Davina.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Of
very much
course,
for
of
having us,
course.
Maya.
Of course. And y'all are in the UK.
We
So
are.
I want to have this conversation, of course, about hair. There is
Yes.
always a story about why a woman or women choose to go natural.
Yes.
So just starting from the very beginning, growing up, how were y'all wearing your hair?
Right, so thank you again for having us. We are indeed the authors of Before We Become Extinct, How Do I Get the Confidence to Wear My Natural Woolly Hair? So growing up, we had the typical cultural hairstyles that are from our region. So my parents were both born in West Africa. So we had our hair, plaited and cornrowed when we were growing up. And also, as we got older, we started to experiment ourselves with our own hair, like doing plaiting and, that kind of thing. And I would do my sister's hair when I got to a certain age. Um, it was quite a bonding time, I think, with us and our mother because, she would, I don't know about other Black women, but she would, we'd sit in front of her with our backs to her and she would, plait our
Yes.
hair and sometimes
Yes.
late in the evening when people had gone to bed or were doing something else. And it was a time for us to really, you know, just have that bond between mother and daughter and I guess celebrate the hair. She would do different styles. And, sometimes it would hurt and she'd use the hot comb and sometimes my ear would get burned. And she'll say, don't worry, you'll be as free as a bird in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And, so that was the typical kind of upbringing that we had in terms of like how our hair was done.
Yeah, absolutely. We had braids for a long time, really up until our late teens, 20s.
Yeah.
And the thing with braids, it's a lovely style, but it can pull at your scalp.
Yes.
And which causes traction alopecia, which many of us are still battling with, still struggling with. So we didn't know we could just leave our hair. We didn't grow up knowing that or being encouraged to do that. Our hair always had to have something done to it. It always had to be, fixed or done. It was never just let alone. Do you understand?
Yes.
So yeah. Pretty much our story.
So you talked about the braids all the way up into your 20s. Were these braids with weaves or extensions or was just with your natural hair? Like, was your hair natural or was it relaxed?
No, it was natural and we used synthetic braids. The synthetic braid, you buy in the shop. Extensions.
Yes.
Which were plaited into your hair. That's what we used. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
And we did that
up
really
into your
for
20s.
years, to be honest. I was really quite a braid girl, through university braids, college braids. It was braids. But as Davina said, you didn't realize you could just leave it.
Yeah,
just leave it.
Yeah, we didn't really get the relaxer till much later. Our dad didn't want us to have that in our hair. He didn't want us to do that to our hair so young. So it was really much later when we started to transition to a relaxed hairstyle. Really.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that both of your parents are West African.
Yes.
Y'all were raised in West Africa and then came to the UK, or y'all were born and raised in the UK?
We were born and raised in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay. Born and raised in the UK.
When your mother was doing your hair, because as I've said before, I'm realizing that natural hair, when it comes to Afro-textured hair, and when it comes to Black women, there is much more of a mental component that I'm realizing now than when I first started. So like you were talking about sitting in between your mother's legs, this is almost like a rite of passage, even here in America. Yeah. But I think one of the conversations that we need to have or expand the conversation is the person that is doing the child's hair, whether it's an aunt, a grandmother, a mother, or a caregiver. What is their attitude? What is their mindset when it comes to the natural hair? If mom is always huffing and puffing and complaining and saying, we need to do your hair, we need to fix your hair is ugly, it's nappy. What was the relationship like, or do you think the way that your mother handled or treated your hair is how you began to see your hair. What was your mother's attitude towards natural hair?
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually, because you know, she was very supportive of the braids because, again, you know, something had to be done to the hair. And I think it's a cultural thing, you know, something has to be done to the hair. My memories of when I was younger, having my hair done, are for the most part quite positive because, you know, she would do these intricate styles that she'd learned from her mum. And it was more of a celebration of the hair. But the hair still needed to be done. Do you see what I mean? So it still needed to be done. It wasn't so much that she would say things, oh, you know, she wouldn't say disparaging things about the hair. I don't recall that from my childhood. It was more just, you know, we just had to do the hair. That's really what it was about. Yeah.
I think that comes from the fact that our parents were born and raised in West Africa. They didn't have that negative stereotype and negative social engineering that you get here in the West. You know, it's just not the same. Everyone around you looks like you. You know, you're on the billboards, you're on the television screen. So it's a different growing environment. Yeah. So she didn't bring that kind of mental baggage with her. Do you understand? So that was different. Yeah. Because you're right, there is a mindset thing, definitely.
So you talk about the hair being done. Your hair was not considered done. Is this your hair was done with extensions, or it could also be considered done without?
So, yes. So when we were younger, it was without. So, you know, mum would do different hairstyles, you know, cornrows and big, large plaits. And there was something that she did with thread as well, you know, again, all things that she brought from home. And she would do our hair like that when we were younger. And it was really when we got sort of into our teens that we sort of went into the whole braiding your hair. And I didn't actually get my first relaxer till I was in my early 20s. And it was a female family member who said to me, you know, well, you know, you're going into the corporate environment, you know, you want to look a little bit more professional, you know, all the things we've believed, you know. And so it was then that I got my first relaxer. And then I didn't get another relaxer to another 10 years. I think it was about another 10 years later that I got a second one. And then after that one, I was like, okay, I'm done, done with this. Yeah. So, so for the most part, it was braiding the hair. I remember, you know, when I'd gone through that during my younger period, having these styles, it then sort of merged into braiding. And then, you know, I made these sort of choices to try the relaxer.
And Davina, when was the first time you got a relaxer?
I think I was in my late 20s, you know. I was in my late 20s. And again, I was working in the corporate environment and believed that I had to change myself in some way, you know, and it really didn't. I mean, it just eats at your hair. It just eats at your hair. And it didn't make any difference. It really didn't, you know. You have it done and you're like, oh, okay, this is it kind of thing, you know. It's not always hyped up to be in our minds. You understand, you know? That's the learning curve.
So for me, I was 9, which is young, but for some people or in some communities, in the 20s is very late. I've heard women say that they were 5. Unfortunately for me, it was not my mother who relaxed my hair. It was another family member. So y'all were kind of late in some communities, would have been considered late getting a relaxer. But I want to go back to your father because I find this very interesting. A lot of dads, they might be indifferent. They might not care. They might not notice. And they're like, well, that's not my department. Where do you think your father's resistance to you getting relaxers, where do you think that came from?
Do you know, it's quite interesting actually. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just an innate thing, you know. Maybe he just had that innate wisdom that I'm not sure about this, particularly because we were quite, you know, we were younger as well, you know, like college, university age. So I guess maybe in his mind he thought, well, you know, maybe when you start working and you're earning your money and you decide to do that, maybe that's, you know, if you want to make, but kind of like while you're young or under my roof or whatever, I don't see the need for it. Because again, my dad was born in West Africa, and so he grew up around women who would style their hair, their natural hair. So, you know, there's a lot of celebration of plaits, cornrows, different hairstyles, you know, threading, all this sort of thing. So my dad grew up around that. So to him, that's beauty. Yeah. So maybe for him, he just thought, well, why
Probably
do that?
why.
Maybe he had an innate wisdom
Yeah.
that putting chemicals into your hair at a young age is just not a good idea. But I'm very grateful to him that he did have that foresight. Yeah, definitely.
Davina, where do you think it came from? Same thing?
I was going to say, I think it would come from his upbringing, to be honest. I think we can't take for granted what it is to grow up around, like in your own land, around your own people. I just don't think we don't, us here in the West who are born and raised here, we just don't know how powerful that is. It's something we've missed out on. I think that, to me, that's my first instinct. My response would be, because I think if his upbringing, I think that would be it. Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Your mother at this time, did she kind of mirror the same sentiments? How was she wearing her hair?
Yeah, how was Mum doing her hair at that time? I'm trying to.
That's a good question, actually.
I'm trying to remember, to be honest.
Mum, where did you have the perm?
Because she did have a perm, didn't she? She had a perm.
Okay.
Yeah, because, back then, I mean, this is going back a bit.
Yeah.
But back then, there was the whole perm thing was the rage. And, a lot of Black women were getting perms. I mean, even when I was at, I think was I at college? Yeah, I think I was at college. I had a friend and she had a perm. So she had her hair, I guess, loose, but it was permed. No one just left their hair natural. There was something done to it, So Mum had a perm, from what I remember. God, that's really going back, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, she didn't want us to do that, particularly young, not so young. I mean, I think it's a thing. I think a lot of it's to do with, well, when you get older and you want to make your own decisions about X, Y, Z, and you're making your own money and yeah, there may be. But it's kind of like while you're under our roof or while you're under a certain age, we need to sort of give you that guidance. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Understood.
Yeah.
Let's go to corporate, because y'all talked about that's when you finally got your relaxers in your 20s. And I believe you said it was either a friend or a family member who said something to you about going into corporate, looking professional, looking presentable. People will take you seriously, or the conversation won't be about your hair. You won't walk into a boardroom and someone's like, whoa, what's going on?
Wow, yeah.
The decision to get the relaxer, it was probably a lot of pressure. Was there a specific situation that happened, scenario? Was it something specific that they said to you about going to corporate that both of you felt the need or felt the pressure to get a relaxer?
Yeah, to be honest, I think because, it's just family members are quite influential, aren't they? And, older family members, they've kind of walked the walk. So, they know about the environment. You're fresh out of university and they're saying to you, look, I think it would be a good idea if you did this, when you think, okay, well, they're older, they've had the experience, they know about these things. What do I know?
Yeah.
So you kind of like, you can be quite impressionable, I think, at that age. And I just thought to myself, okay, well, yeah, let's do that. If this is, because again, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, well, this is likely to kind of guarantee success or help my success, let me put it that way, in the corporate environment. So, I mean, when I think about it now, Maya, I just think that's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But at the time, when I was a lot younger, I just thought, yeah, okay, why not? Yeah, I like the way it looks. It looks cool. It looks cool, cute. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is similar with me too. I think on some level, as Black women, we feel like we need to do it. Like it's a stage you go through. It's just something you just do. You just do it because everyone else is doing it, and that's what you do. So, it wasn't long after I did mine too, because apparently I had to. It's very strange, but yeah. But I think that was what the progress was. Yeah, I think that's what the transition was. Yeah.
Okay. And Tracy, I heard you say that you got your first relaxer and then you didn't get one until 10 years after?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like you never went for any touch up. You just got one relaxer and then you came back 10 years later.
Yeah. So I got, I'm trying to remember now, Maya. I got a relaxer. I remember getting a relaxer because I remember going on holiday with a friend from university. So this was post-university. We both come out of university and I was working in the corporate environment. And I got this relaxer and I remember being on holiday with this, with my hair relaxed, right? And it kind of like eats away at your hair. It eats away at your hair. And I remember not long after having it, maybe I had it for like, how long did I have it? Maybe a year. I don't even know if it was up to a year, maybe a year or two. I can't remember. I would go for getting it touched up and getting it maintained and that. But there's just so many chemicals in it. This thing ultimately can just eat at your hair. And I remember just going back to braids, and I just went back to my braids thing again for another, must have been about 10 years. It must have been about then. Until I thought, okay, well, let me try a texturizer, But again, it's again, a lot of the time it's influence from other people. And this is why because even the second time it had been, somebody had said something, someone had said something, a family member. And I think that's often the reason why we do these things, because otherwise you just happily carry on doing what you're doing, wearing your braids and things. And I think, why don't you try? And then from there, you go and do something. So, yeah. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll try, I think they were called texturizers, supposed to be like not as strong or not as harsh as a relaxer. So I remember doing that, yeah.
Okay. So here in the States, the texturizer is you're supposed to be able to go in between easily. You're supposed to be able to go from straight to curly, and your curls are supposed to be more manageable.
Right.
Now in the UK, it's something new or not as old, I guess you could say, as a relaxer, but have you ever heard of a texture release?
Texture release? No.
Yes. So that's supposed to be even, I guess, less harsh than a texturizer. So from the way that I understand it, it's a relaxer, then a texturizer, and then a texture release.
Wow. No.
And then of course, there's this new thing called a nanoplasty, which is a whole other conversation. Wow. But Davina, for you, there's so many terms and there's so much marketing and so many terms. But for you, Davina, when you got your relaxer or a perm, what was your experience, and did you ever stop and start again like Tracy did?
Oh gosh, it's taking me back. Did I ever stop and start again? Honestly, I don't even know if I can even remember. Do you know what I think? I think it was so uneventful that it was just like, I don't even really remember. I might have gone back to braids. I honestly cannot remember. But I didn't have it for very long. I remember the burning sensation when I went to the salon, and I think that put me off, to be honest. I think as well.
I can't remember if you had it twice. I only ever remember you having it once, I think. Did you have it twice?
I had it for a short time.
But it would have been for a short time, because these things just start eating away at your hair anyway.
Yeah, it started to get regrow and just looking really messy, and just like
it was eating away at the hair.
Yeah, I didn't even know what was going on. It was just this. I just knew it wasn't right. Do you understand? I knew something was weird. Strands everywhere, and life has to be more simple than this, It's just
okay, so for you, Davina, what was the moment where you said, "I'm done with this"? Was it because of your hair? What was the moment?
Yeah, I think Trace was a big influence.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really funny, actually, Maya, because I this second so-called texturizer.
Second time.
Oh gosh, right. So it started to eat away at my hair, and I thought, okay, this isn't good. And so it was eating away at my hair, and you just have like little wisps of. It gets to a point where you can see the regrowth happening of your natural hair trying to come through and say, this is how you're supposed to look. And then you'd have this, sort of texturized hair on the top, and it was going different lengths, and it was just like, okay, this can't be good for my hair. And I tried a couple of products. There was something called, I think, a naturalaxer, where you kind of ease out of
natural.
texturized hair, and sort of transition back into natural. That was quite a messy affair.
I was getting ready to say, did that work?
I don't know. They said it makes the coil a bit looser, so so that you can transition. And
it kind of did. I remember it was a messy job in the bathroom.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it smelled lovely.
Yeah. But it did get rid of the texturizer, and your natural hair started to come through. It took a few months, didn't it? I think.
Did it?
I think we bought it a few times.
Yeah, it was like this kind of I think it was like a sort of clay type consistency. It smelled really nice, like herbal, but it just, it was really messy. And
was it supposed to? I'm not going to say even out, but was it supposed to make the two textures easier to manage and work with?
Apparently
Because for a lot of
so.
women, the issue is the demarcation point in dealing with the two textures. Is that what it kind of was supposed to help with?
Apparently. Because I do distinctly remember it saying that it makes your, because, you know, woolly hair, you know, we've got very tight curls. And it was, and apparently this is wrong. So it was supposed to make it, you know, a looser curl. So, you know, that was part of it. Okay, so make it looser curl, which make it more manageable, you know, and you kind of like ease out of this texturizer. And I remember just like thinking, oh gosh, this is a lot of work. And it's so funny the way it happened, to be honest, Maya, because I remember looking at my hair one day in the mirror and I could see the regrowth coming through and I could see like the texturized bits on the top. And I thought, I wonder what it would look like if I just cut it all off. And at the time, it's so funny because I don't know if you know, so there's a famous actress called Shari Belafonte. So she's an old school actress, American actress. She's actually mixed race, but her hair was very similar to mine in terms of like she has more of a woolly kind of textured hair. So even though she is mixed race, she had hair that I thought looked as close as I could imagine it to be, mine to be, if I cut my hair. I saw her in a MasterCard. I'll never forget. I saw her in a MasterCard advert. And it's so rare to see woolly hair on display on women that it got my attention. And I remember thinking, wow, her hair looks incredible in this MasterCard advert. And I thought, gosh, she just cut it off. It was like a TWA and it just looked so good. And I just remember thinking, I wonder what my hair would look like if I just cut it off. And it's remarkable. But before I knew where I was, I just had scissors in my hand and I was in front of the bathroom mirror, just cutting this rubbish off my hair. And it's really funny because, you know, we laugh at it, but it was quite a spiritual, I think it was quite a spiritual moment because, you know, we joke about these things, but it seemed like as these bits of sort of texturized hair, what was left of it, was falling, you know, down. It's like I was being released from all these lies and bondage and, you know, they were just like falling. And I was just, so that's what I mean when I mean, it might sound a bit corny, but I think it was quite spiritual.
Oh no.
You know.
Did you felt free?
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
That's it.
It was remarkable. And I just cut it all off. And then I just looked at it in the mirror.
Yeah.
I just thought, oh, that's what I look like with my hair.
Yeah.
Sure. So it was really, really interesting. I don't know. I just got this gumption to do it and just did it. Yeah.
And Davina, what was the moment for you?
It was literally, I cut my hair, the big chop, literally a week after Trace. Literally. And it's so crazy, Maya, because when Trace said to me, I'm going to cut my hair, I was so far removed from what that could mean. I thought she actually meant she was going to go bald. That's how mentally distant I was from my own hair. I thought, but why would you want to go bald?
Yeah.
So when she came back through the door and she still had her hair on her head, I was like, oh. And then she showed me pictures of, you go onto Google and you can see, you know, black women with the short hair. I thought this could actually work.
Yeah.
And literally a week later, I had done the same.
Yeah.
Because freedom, Maya. There's nothing more attractive than freedom and not being in bondage. Like everyone else around you on the planet is wearing their hair. I mean, in effect, we're the only race who call our hair natural hair. All the other races just call their hair. With us, it's natural. You know, so I wanted to be free like everyone else, and nothing is more attractive than freedom.
Absolutely. That's actually a perfect segue into the TWA. When Tracy, you talked about it. So for both of you, when you both were free, you're sporting your TWAs, you're natural now. Was the decision or was the intent always to sport a TWA, or were you guys like experimenting with your hair? How did you come to the decision of sporting a TWA?
Yeah, to be honest, the TWA is just, I just love the TWA because I think it's short. I think what it was, Maya, was, you know, for years and years, we had what you call like hair weekends.
That's it.
Even when I was at university, it's like, okay, I'll say to my friends, I'm going home to do my hair this weekend. And it was a whole weekend and you had to like take all the braids out. You had, there was always this event. There's always been an event around my hair.
Yeah.
And I think with the TWA, it just gave you a level of freedom that you had never experienced before. Because even, you know, if, you know, with our hair, afro hair, when it's long, it grows out as a full afro. Okay. So that's our hair when it grows out, when it's long, It's not coming down, it's coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the length is this way.
Yeah.
But then with the TWA, you know, it's basically an afro, as you can see, but it's just sort of short, very, very short. And it just allows you to just think about other things.
Yeah.
And I think the freedom of running through the rain, jumping in and out of the swimming pool, you know, washing my hair as many times as I wanted to. I just think I was just been enjoying that for such a long time that I ended up keeping it as a TWA for a lot longer than I maybe had originally intended.
Yeah. And also, you know, bear in mind, our hair, less is more. So when it's short, it looks really busy because it's tightly curled. Yeah. There's a lot going on with our hair. We look really good with short hair.
Yeah.
I mean, black women in general look really good with short hair. There's a lot going on. It's very edgy, you know. So it's very chic as well. So yeah, we love it. We love the TWA.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes, to be honest, sometimes less is more on some women. Because I've even seen it. You know, just some sisters. It's like that double take moment. You see them with really short hair and you're kind of like, wow, you know, it's almost, there's a wow factor to it. And again, as I say, just that ease of just having a complete break from all the pulling and the tugging and the styling and the this and just having some time to just let the hair heal as well, you know, because it's gone through quite a lot. You know, you've been subjecting it to this treatment and this pulling and sometimes braids could be very tight. You would say to the woman who did your braids, you know, at the salon, look, it's just a bit too tight. I'm feeling just a bit too much pressure. So your hair's gone through all of that for years. And I think you just get to the point where you think, you know what, let's just let the hair recuperate. You know, let's
let it
show
be.
it some love. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's been very good for the hair. I think it's been very, very good for my hair. And just allowed me to get to know my hair, allowed me to experiment and really sort of learn like what it looks like and what happens when it gets wet and when I sweat or when, you know, it's an education. Yeah. And I think that's been a very positive thing.
Okay. So when you hop on YouTube University, there are a whole bunch of videos, myself included. I love long hair. I love the big hair, talking about growth tips and length retention. So I'm going to assume that because the both of you have chosen to intentionally rock your TWAs, there have probably been some negative comments or not so nice comments. Typically, when someone goes natural, one of the goals is to grow their hair out. So with the two of you intentionally wearing your TWA, what has the response been? Has it been negative? Has it been positive? Because you're essentially kind of stepping outside of a box or a certain aesthetic. Yes. So what has the response been?
You know, for the most part, what I did notice when I went natural, so-called, was mostly the issue was with our people. It's our people who are carrying a lot of mental trauma, a lot of self-rejection, a lot of, you know, being trained to look at anything that looks like you as negative because of our history, right? But even as I said that, there were still many of our people who were very complimentary. So it just depends on the person, what journey they've taken. I've had brothers be very complimentary. I've had sisters be very complimentary. But on the other hand, there has been those who have looked away or looked uncomfortable or, you know, it just saddens me that it's just so much mental baggage because it shouldn't really be an issue. You know, everyone and their dog is wearing their own hair. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there's something we have to really overcome as a people. You know, do you want to say something to that?
Yeah. I think with me, I think mine was pretty similar because, you know, you'd get those people who, you know, I mean, it's funny because I had sisters like follow me into the store and say, I've just got to tell you, your hair just looks amazing. So I've had that. I had a sister once who said, I think I was in the ladies' toilet and we were in the mirror and I think she was wearing, what she was wearing was like a short wig. So it looked like a short wig or a short weave where, you know, straight hair. And I think it was like copper coloured or something. And she saw me and she said, oh my gosh, look at your hair. She said, right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And I thought, wow, that is powerful. Yeah. Because she just thought she thought I was a model or something. She was like, oh my goodness, like, you know, and that's amazing because it made me think, God, our sisters, like, they need to see it. You know, they need to see it represented. Like, the reason why she said, "Oh wow, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that," was because one of her sisters had stepped out and represented.
Yeah.
And because I'd represented, now other sisters could now see the possibilities.
That's right.
And this is why it's quite powerful when you sort of like, you know, be your own beauty space and just be like, well, you know, this is what I'm going to do. I've got my reasons for doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it. Of course, naturally, you know, you got the people who would look away from you, turn away from you, look at you as if like, oh my goodness, what have you done? But for the most part, I think, again, like Davina says, they're dealing with their own internal struggles. And we understand that because obviously we're from the same race, got the same history. We understand where these things come from. Is it always pleasant when people behave in a certain way? No, it's not always a nice experience, you know, when your people look away from you. But I think a big part of it is trying to sort of trying to remember where that comes from and try not to take it too personally. Because, yeah, people have got to work through a lot of baggage. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to couple this with masculinity.
Oh.
Do either one of you feel masculine or feel like you look like a man with your TWA?
I have never in my life thought. I still just recently had the doors open for me here in London. Here you go, love. Let me help you with your bag. No man has ever thought I'm a man. It's funny when I first got my hair done, I used to get the bus to work.
Yeah.
And there was an older Indian man who I used to always speak to, you know, as he waited for the bus in the morning. And the next day after I'd had my hair done, I was waiting at the bus stop and he came and started speaking to me. And I said to him, I didn't think you would recognise me. So I've cut all my hair off. He goes, I don't recognise you. You look lovely. You know, so it's just, that's an Indian man, you know. So again, it's just, no, these are things, these are mindset issues that our people have.
Yeah, I think it's our people because, again, I got quite a bit of affirmation from men of other races. So that was quite interesting. So, you know, getting affirmation from men of other races, that's telling you don't look masculine. You don't look masculine to them. The whole, you know, a woman with short hair looks masculine is just, I mean, I think so much can be said about that, and it's probably out of the scope of this conversation, to be honest, but there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, it's a lot of self-rejection because really as a people, we're very hard on ourselves. You know, only our women can be masculine with short hair, whereas women of other races are not deemed masculine when they have short hair. So that's a problem we have with ourselves. Why do we see our own people, our own women, as being masculine with short hair when we never apply that same logic to women of other races who have short hair? So this goes back to our own self-rejection, our own mental issues.
And a lot of, and I tell you, Maya, that one, it really is a separate, you could literally have a discussion about that one all on its own, because there are different factors to sort of bring into the conversation. You know, you have to look at gender roles within the Black community. You know, what kind of roles has the Black woman undertaken in the last sort of like 50 to 100 years? How is she treated in society? How does she fit? All manner of things. It's such a big conversation, that one on its own. But no, definitely no. I've never felt masculine at all. No, not at all. No.
And as both of you just gave your own anecdotes, your own stories, the man, Davina, recognized you. You said you had the door open. And Tracy, someone said, a man said that you look lovely as well.
Deep, man. Still get my suitcase carried for me up the stairs by men and all that. So, but yeah, probably even more so, actually. It's quite remarkable. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask 2 questions just so that we can have a concrete answer. Tracy, do you consider yourself to be a light-skinned Black woman?
Yes. So it's really funny because, yes, I do consider myself to be a light-skinned Black woman. The reason I consider myself to be a light-skinned Black woman is because I have a Black mum, Black dad, and Black grandparents, and it just sort of like Black grandparents, it goes on. So I think people get confused with the difference between a light-skinned Black woman who has Black parents and Black grandparents and a mixed race person. You see, I wouldn't call a mixed race person a light-skinned black woman because she's half, usually it's usually a mixed race person who's half white that this is attributed to. So a mixed race person who's half white is white blooded. Okay, they're not black. And I feel like for me personally, it's unfair to call them black, I personally feel, because they've actually said, you know, look, we're not black. We don't feel black. We don't have the black experience. I respect that they have their own challenges in society and they will communicate those challenges, you know, openly, but they've said quite categorically, like, you know, we're not black. Whereas me, I don't say I'm not black. I am black. I have had many black experiences. But we have to understand that black people have always come in different shades of brown. We've always been from the very lightest to the very, very darkest, but we're all part of the same tree. So I think that's the bit that I think needs to, because I see that being discussed within the black community, you know, are mixed race people black people? And I think we need to listen to them, you know, because they're saying, look, I've never walked a day in your shoes. So, you know, I don't feel like you feel. Whereas I don't say that. I am black. My brothers and sisters are black. My parents are black. My grandparents are black. But I'm not white blooded. I don't have one white parent. So I understand and know and can sympathize and empathize with a lot of the black experiences. Yeah.
Okay. Davina, do you consider yourself to be a brown-skinned woman, brown-skinned black woman? Because people like to make the distinction, a brown-skinned black woman or a dark-skinned black woman.
Wow. I'll tell you, I've never been even asked that question. I guess I would call myself a brown-skinned woman. I can't claim that beautiful mahogany coloured skin. I can't claim that. So yeah, probably like a caramel colour. So maybe brown-skinned black woman. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because there have been conversations about the black experience, but within that conversation, there has been debates about the experience of a light-skinned black woman going natural and a brown-skinned and or a dark-skinned black woman going natural.
Yeah.
Have you experienced differences? Do you think your experiences have been different?
I wouldn't have thought so. So it's really funny because, I mean, my sister and I have been out together and we've had women, black women come up and say, oh guys, I just want to tell you that I just love the way your hair looks. I just love the short, you know. So we've both, you know, had experiences where we've both had that. We had a brother walking down the street once with his little son, and he just said, you know, I just want to say, God bless you. And I thought, wow, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, God bless you. Because I think what it was he was probably thinking, this needs to be represented. This needs to be seen. And you're doing that. And whether you realize it or not, that's a huge help to our community. So so that was really, really nice. I don't really think there's been much difference. I mean, when you look at me, I wouldn't say I typically look mixed race. So I've got very light skin, but I've got black features. So you can see that I'm a black woman, right? And also, as I say, because within our, particularly like where we're from, where my parents are from, you do get a lot of very light skinned black people and very, very dark skinned. So, you know, I have friends, people I know who are black, very, very light skinned. We're all having the same experience.
Yeah. I think the reason why that question is asked in our community is because, again, we're confusing a light-skinned black woman with a mixed race woman. So a mixed race woman who goes natural is not going to have the same experiences as a sister who's light-skinned who goes natural. We have to make the distinction. And I think that's why people think you're comparing yourself to someone who's not going through your experiences, and it will just leave you in a funk. Quite frankly, you have to compare oranges for oranges. You know, I think that's where the confusion lies with our people. Yeah.
Okay. Tracy, follow-up question. I don't like the hair typing chart. I know y'all don't like it either, but for context or for the purpose of this question, would you consider, or what would you say your hair type is? For A, for B, for C?
That's it. Because I think, I don't do hair type. I don't do
I know.
at all, right? But
there's a reason why my follow-up question, I want to hear your answer first, but there's a reason why, and you probably already know, but what do you consider your hair type to be?
Yeah, I guess if I was to look at this chart thing, then it will probably be maybe around 4C, because my hair is very springy, tight curled hair. So maybe 4C, maybe 4C.
Okay.
I did come
the follow-up question, which you already know what's the follow-up question. You said that you guys said that you really haven't had different experiences.
Yes.
When the natural hair community started, when you hop on YouTube University, one of the conversations that is being had is light-skinned Black women who have non-Afro textured hair.
Yes.
Or who don't have the 4C. They might even have a little bit of 3B, 3A. They are the ones that are being championed. They are the ones that are being highlighted. They are the ones that are getting screen time.
Yes.
You, as a light-skinned Black woman, if you had a looser curl pattern, do you think your experience would have been different, or do you think you would have been pedestalized even more?
If I had a looser curl pattern,
because I also see sometimes, and just like what you said, Davina, when we're mixing, when we're talking about mixed race, when we're talking about a light-skinned Black woman, a lot of times people will associate looser curl patterns with lighter skinned Black women, or with mixed race women. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, 100%. Because I think that is actually often the case. Because mixed race people are mixed. You know, they've got they're made of two races, and they've taken features of both those races. You often do get, you know, like maybe is it a 3C or a 3B curl pattern, you know, in their hair, which is a lot looser. But again, you see, this is where it's so important to understand that light-skinned Black people are Black and mixed race people are not Black. This is where it's so important, because, you know, if I had a looser, maybe people might have been
within the Black community.
Yeah, within the Black community, people might have behaved maybe differently if it was looser, because again, looser is attributed to mixed race, you see, and that's technically mixed race is not our race, because we're Black. So it is important to understand that distinction.
Probably within our community would have been a bigger deal, not in other races.
No,
wouldn't even pay any attention to it.
Yes, I think
this right here,
it's within the Black community, because again, because of our history, you know, our recent history, Black people have seen people that don't have their phenotype get a different kind of treatment. So, you know, people who, as you say, have hair, maybe they're mixed race and they have hair of a looser curl. You know, that's why it's so confusing, you know, being treated differently from them, because you're all being told that. This is why I really think it's important that our people make the distinction between the light-skinned Black and the mixed race, because what you're doing is you're saying we're all Black, but ones that look like you, who have your phenotype and your looser curls and whatever features, you know, you get a better level of treatment. And I just don't think
it's dangerous.
I don't think that's good for our self-esteem. So it's better to understand that, okay, they are a group unto themselves, mixed race people, and they have said that. And let's respect that they are a group unto themselves, because one of my parents is not from another race, so I cannot be the same as them, and they cannot be the same as me. So I think that's a big part of it.
We are going to move on to your book.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys co-authored a book.
Yes.
Tell us what the inspiration was behind it.
You know, it really was speaking to sisters. They were the inspiration, you know, because when we went natural, there were many sisters who said to us, you know, I want to go natural, but I don't have the confidence to wear it. I don't have the confidence, or I'm not sure I can, or maybe they didn't feel they had the staying power to make it sustainable and keep natural. So we wanted to write a book which would really encompass everything that we've learned on our hair natural journey and put it into a book for our sisters. You know, the sisters really were the target and the target audience of the book, because they're the ones in society who are not on the billboards. They're the ones who are not in the music videos as their true, authentic self.
Yes.
Yeah. So truly authentic, not having to change something about themselves. I mean, go just being them. They're the ones who have to compromise something or tweak something. And, we wanted to write this book for them. That's really what the inspiration was.
Okay, so I did read the book and I absolutely love it.
Oh.
Short, great read.
Yeah,
but one of the things that I noticed is that when it comes to Afro-textured hair, in your book, you refer to it as woolly. Why is that?
Yes. So we refer to our hair as woolly because that's how it's always been described. So, we go back to the biblical Jews of the Bible, okay? And when you read about the phenotype, the description of the phenotype of the Jews, we were always described as having woolly hair, brown skin. You'll see locks in the Bible. You'll see braids in the Bible. So even when you go back to dictionaries from like the 19th century, you will see, wool as the hair that Black people have. Our hair is being described as wool. So as people who don't do the whole curl typing thing, when I look at my hair, I'm like, yes, I see a woolly texture. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So we just continue with wool so that sisters know who the book is directed to. Because again, it's the wool, I feel, the woolly hair that's been the most discriminated against. Let me just put it that way. I think, particularly on sisters, for some reason we've been made to feel like we cannot just, the hair isn't socially acceptable. Yeah. So by just making it very clear exactly the type of hair and texture that we're referring to in our book, I think it's just easier for sisters to identify, okay, yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
Davina, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I mean, only that we did speak to a sister from the States at a conference once, and she was like, oh, why did you call it woolly? And we just explained to her, look, this is how our ancestors in the Bible described our hair as woolly. And she was fine with it. Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you gave the explanation, do you think she was offended first?
I think she might have been at first. I think at first she might have thought, because I think so many people are doing this, maybe because they're doing this curl typing thing, or they're using the term Afro. But Afro, I don't know, because some people with a different texture will call their hair an Afro. Do you see what I mean? So I think I've Googled Afro before, and people have come up, mixed race people have come up, and their hair hasn't been like ours. So it's been like a looser curl pattern. And I wanted to make sure that it was very clear who the book is targeted to. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So we just use that term now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So once you explained that to her, she was no longer offended. She was okay.
She was fine.
She was fine.
Yeah, she was fine.
Yeah, she was. I think a lot of it is just like, a lot of it is lack of knowledge. Yeah. She probably didn't even know, she didn't know that our hair and our phenotype is being consistently referred to throughout the Bible. She probably didn't even know that. So once we educated her on that, she was absolutely fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to get to a couple of sections in the book. Like I said, I absolutely love the book, but there is chapter 7 of the book. There's a title in there or a section. It's 10 tips for wearing woolly hair.
Yeah.
I want to specifically talk about step 7, which talks about imagery, and then step 8, products that speak against your hair.
Yeah.
So for step 7, it talks about imagery. The way natural hair is described. In y'all's opinion, do you think this needs to change?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, as a people, we don't describe our phenotype, including our hair, in positive way, in positive language. We just don't do it. When it comes to our hair, it's unruly, it's rebellious, it's nappy, it's coarse. Bushy is another one. But is it those things? Is it unruly? Is it rebellious? Or is it just rebelling the fact that we won't let it be? Is it fighting against the fact we won't let our hair just be free?
But this thing about how we sort of use words to describe our hair, again, I think it's a lot of social conditioning and our recent history and the things that have been inflicted on us as a people, that it's kind of stayed with us. Because really, when you look at people of other races, they can often describe the way they look and their phenotype with much more positive language. You know, I've seen Sister Sal, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this nappy mess today, you know, and people have even said to me, you know, oh, hello, Bushy, and you know, just things like that, you know, and I'm just kind of like, you know, family members and stuff who just be so I was like, whatever. So at the end of the day, yeah, we've internalized a lot of negative speak, you know, a lot of things that have been leveled on us in very harsh conditions. And we need to let that go, because at the end of the day, we have incredible hair. I mean, the hair is just it does so much. It's literally showing you how versatile it is, how it barely changes, you know, if rain hits it, and you know what it can do, how resilient it is, how it's been with us throughout everything we've been through, and it's still standing. I mean, it's telling you, it's showing you its attributes, yet we are holding on for some reason to things that were said to us, you know, under very negative circumstances.
Yeah. We need new vocabulary to basically describe our entire phenotype.
Yes.
Period. So let's think of some more positive words. You know, we have high cheekbones as a people. We have almond-shaped eyes as a people. We have full lips as a people. Our skin tone is caramel, toffee, peanut, mahogany, pecan. We have all different array of words we can use.
Yeah, and the hair, you know, it's soft, it's bouncy, you know, all these things, they're not being used. And I'm just thinking, let's widen our vocabulary. Why not? I mean, who's going to do it for us?
Yeah.
You know, we've got some beautiful people in our race, incredible hair, and we still aren't really kind of using the language to describe that. And to me, I just think it's amazing. I think, why not?
Yeah. We need words like majestic, gravity defying. We do not need to put gel into our hair to make it stand on end. You know, this is, you know, it's a law unto itself. Let's use these languages, because when you see other races, they are not using derogatory terms to describe their features. They're not doing it. It's damaging to your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that's perfect that you talked about gel, because step 8 was be careful or be mindful of the products that speak against your hair.
Yes.
So we talked about the vocabulary just in general terms, talking against our natural hair and our phenotype. Do you think some of the labels or some of the words or some of the titles of products need to change when they are being marketed towards us?
Yes, 100%. Because if I tell you the amount of times I've seen products marketed to our hair, describing our hair as, you know, unruly, you know, rebellious, unmanageable, tame that hair. Like, you know, it's almost like your hair is a wild animal which needs to be tamed. And I'm thinking, what is this? So again, I think we need to you steer clear, first of all, of that kind of language, because of products that have that kind of language, because I just don't see how that can have those products can have your best interests in mind. They're coming at you immediately before you've even got your money out of your purse. They're coming at you with all this negative language, and you know, which I kind of take offense to, because why is my hair unruly? Why is it unruly? Because it stands on end, but it's supposed to stand on end. It's a mindset thing. It's like there's a standard, and anybody who doesn't meet the standard there's something wrong with them. You know, that's their beauty. So this is one particular race or a group of races. That's their beauty. Let them do their beauty. You do your beauty, and we'll do our beauty. But it's not for you to come and say your beauty is supposed to be the same as my beauty. No, because the Creator created diversity. So if he wanted us all to look the same way, we would all have the same hair. The fact that the hair is coming out of your head the way it's coming out suggests that that's the way he wants your hair to look. And this is why we refer to you know, the Creator in the book, and how he sort of made us to look exactly the way we were meant to look. So I think it's really important that we, you know, when we see these products that say your hair is unruly, rebellious, unmanageable, we have to stop and think to ourselves, is it unmanageable? Or am I trying to make it do what it's not meant to do? Maybe I'm trying to force it with very harsh chemicals to lie down, but maybe the hair's not meant to lie down. So is it really rebellious, or is it just doing what it was meant to do? Is it just being what it was meant to be? Because none of us would like harsh chemicals used on us to try and suppress who we really are and make us into what we're not. You see, it's quite deep when you think about it like that, right? And instead of, so I want to see hair products that say, the cleanser that conditions your curls, soothe those silky springs.
Make your curls pop.
Yeah,
Exactly.
kind of bring back the bounce. We want to hear negative, positive language as opposed to this pejorative language that has been, I guess, forced on us, really. It's been forced on us.
Yeah.
And then the other section, it is the 7 steps to wool confidence. I want to talk about step 2. And I see 3 groups mentioned. And it's basically consider the message that we are sending out. The first group is, what are we communicating to ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, when we tell ourselves that we can't be who we are, we can't wear our natural hair, we're telling ourselves that we're not good enough. Whether we like it or not, actions speak louder than words. It's a universal truth. If we suppress or hide what was given to us, what our natural look is, we are sending the message out to the world and to ourselves that we're not good enough. It's just how it is. It's a universal truth. Those messages are very, very important. Very important.
And then the second group, what are we communicating to others in the community?
Yeah, to be honest, when you can't accept yourself or the way you're made, it's very hard to accept the way those who are from your community look. It's very, very, very hard to accept them because they are a reflection of you. So if you can't accept you, then really you can't accept them. And I think what we also don't bear in mind is that what we don't bear in mind is that when we do make a choice to sort of change our hair, particularly chemically, we send this message out to our brethren saying, we're not good enough. And I don't think we think about it that deeply. It's only since I've, really been thinking about this that I thought, actually, that's what we're communicating. Because remember, our brethren look just like us. And we're saying, I have to do something about the way I was made. I have to try, before I leave the front door, I've got to look different. So then what I'm inadvertently saying to my brethren is that you also have got something wrong with you as well. So every time I walk down the street, I'm actually communicating that message to my brethren. And I never really thought about it like that before, but that is actually what we're doing. And I just don't think that, I don't think it helps us, it helps harmonious relations between us. I don't think it helps it. No.
Okay. And the last group, what are we communicating to other races and or other people outside of our community?
Well, that's going to be the fact that, other races are good. They're the standard. Something's wrong with us. We need fixing.
Yes.
The last bit of us wasn't made quite right.
Yeah.
But you other races, you're right. Yeah. Thumbs up. Yeah, you're good. But us, we're the ones who, God got something wrong with us.
God got something wrong with us, yeah. And, see, unfortunately, oh gosh, it's so dangerous to communicate these things. We don't really realise. It's like we want to be Twitter like everybody else. We're not actually doing what everybody else is doing. Because when you look at everyone else, they're just doing them. Yeah. You see, we're not doing them. Yeah. And you could say, well, we've had a very different history from them. We've had a very abusive history. Yes, 100%. And I completely agree with that is going to take its toll. But I do think for health purposes, which we go into in the book, there comes a time when you have to consider the choices that you've been making for health and well-being's sake. It's not to say that those things that happen to us need to just be overlooked or forgotten or, for us to be insensitive about those things. Not at all. But for the sake of well-being, how do you kind of move past that? How do you that? Because you don't have to live in your past. You can actually move forward and go forward in the future. And quite honestly, Maya, when I think of how influential our people are, the things that they've accomplished under incredibly difficult circumstances, I mean, the innovations, the idea, I mean, I could just sit here. It's a whole other discussion, right? I actually know they can do it. I know they can do it. So, because I know the strength that's there. So I think our people haven't sat down and thought enough, hold on, we've been through tougher stuff than this. We can definitely do this. I mean, we've been through tougher stuff than having to come back and overlook what people have said and, you know, go forward and wear our hair and celebrate ourselves. If any group of people can do it, it's our people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other part of the book that you would like to highlight or you would want the community to know about?
I think for me, just to really, it's a mindset I wanted to really pull, is the mindset. This is mental.
Yeah.
This is mental. Absolutely, hands down mental.
Yeah.
If you can overcome that, which is what the book guides you to do, you can overcome that, you'll be free.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
And also, you know, because in the 3rd chapter, we talk about health dangers. That's, I think, one of the biggest, because you see, it's one of the biggest motivators for wearing your own hair, the health issue. And when I say health issue, I'm not actually just talking about physical health, because this hair issue has affected us on pretty much every level, right? On every health level. So, you know, from a physical standpoint, yes, we're putting chemicals into our hair. Those chemicals are seeping through the pores of our skin, getting into our bodies and causing all manner of sickness, disease for sisters, right? But then there's also the emotional health aspect. You know, the whole thing about our sisters feeling like they have to sort of stand in the mirror and, you know, almost kind of be feeling the hair and looking at this hair and thinking, yeah, this is the standard. This is beauty. You see, to me, that's an emotional issue. It's a mental issue. And then, of course, the spiritual health where, you know, when we buy these hair pieces or synthetic hair or human hair, we don't know where they're being sourced from. We don't know. I know for a fact that in some regions of the world, they sacrifice their hair to their gods before that hair is then sent and marketed off to our sisters. So that has a whole load of spiritual health implications. And then, of course, financial health. You know, the money that we're spending on these hair pieces when we really should be investing that money in what would be good for ourselves and the furtherance of our community. It's hitting health on a lot of levels. So for me, I think, you know, that chapter 3, I think it's chapter 3 about the health dangers. That's quite a big one for me. Yeah, it's time to clean house, sisters. It's time to clean house, you know, invest in things that are going to kind of bring us back because we've been through a lot. You know, we need to invest in what's going to help clean us out, heal us, regenerate us. That's what we need. Absolutely. Yeah.
That is a beautiful way to wrap that up. The book, Before We Become Extinct, will be linked in the description box. Before we end our conversation, which I'm absolutely loving, I do want to hit on one more subject.
Yes.
Social media.
Yes.
Virality, attention, likes. You have a window into someone's life. How much of a role do you think social media plays into natural hair, all of the concerns, all of the debates, and all of the, you said mental, you said financial, you said physical. How much of a role do you think social media plays into this?
I think it plays a huge role. I mean, for so long, our people have been saying we're not in the media spaces. You know, we're not in the adverts. We're not in the billboards. Social media gives each person their individual space to have, you know, to represent themselves.
Yes.
You've got a chance to put your beauty out there to achieve something we've been talking about for a long time. So use your social media space to do you, to embrace you. That is so, so important. That is your space right there.
Yeah. And I think what I see a lot of the time with our people is that a lot of the time our sisters are celebrating the beauty that's not ours. So, you know, they would celebrate the beauty of mixed race people, but they're a different group from us. You see, they're a different group. We need to celebrate the beauty because that's who we are. We are Black people. So we need to represent Black people, Black parents, Black grandparents. Because when you put a mixed race person there, who's not, because they've told us, you know, I'm not Black. So, you know, I don't have the Black experience. So when we put them there, we're actually doing a disservice to ourselves. We need to go and find our people, Black women, Black men. We need to find them, Black parents, Black grandparents, and represent them. A lot of what goes into it is how well we take care of ourselves as well. You know, we talk about that in the book. It's very hard. And I think what was easier for me was because I was, I come from a well-being background. So I'm very much into, you know, nutrition, exercise, things like that, which help you to feel more attractive. You know, when you're taking care of yourself physically, it's much easier to represent yourself, you know, but if you're not investing in taking care of yourself, it's harder to represent yourself naturally because you're not doing what is required to feel and look your best. So I think a lot of it is that we have to be disciplined. We do have to be disciplined to, you know, get the exercise in, you know, eat the right kind of foods, meditate on the right things, you know, to bring out, really showcase that beauty. And then when that beauty is there, represent it.
Absolutely, because beauty is holistic. It's holistic. It's not one thing. Yeah, really, it's your mental beauty, your spiritual beauty, your physical beauty. It's not just one thing. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to eat chips every night, but if I paint my nails, I'll be good. It's just, it's holistic. You have to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, have to put the work in.
So we are going to go ahead and wrap up our conversation.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want the community to know about the book? Do you have any events coming up, and where can people support and follow you?
What we have coming up. Right, so there's a lovely lady from Massachusetts, actually, a show on YouTube called GBH News. And on that show, they were discussing, you know, should Black women continue to use synthetic hair? So we've been in conversation with her, and what we're going to be doing is...
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, we're looking to start a series of workshops where we can actually, you know, have some conversations in a safe space with sisters and help them to sort of work through, you know, in this workshop, some of the challenges that they have when it comes to, you know, wearing your natural woolly hair and kind of using the book as a theme. So we've got that coming up. So we're really quite excited about that.
Absolutely. And you can keep up to date with all our news by joining our mailing list on our website, bwbethebook.com. So before we become extinct, thebook.com. It's literally the abbreviation of before we become extinct.
Yeah.
But Maya will put those details down. And
Yes, I will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay!
And if you join our mailing list, you'll be kept up to date with all our events and all our news. So...
Are these workshops going to be happening in the States and in the UK with the woman that you just spoke about?
I think we'll likely do it by Zoom to start with.
I think it's going to be Zoom calls. Yeah. So we've discussed Zoom calls to start with. But I'm, you know, the idea of sort of spreading out and doing more of these, maybe in the UK, would just be fantastic. Because again, it's such a huge issue, and we really do need to, you know, just get the word out. Get the word out. But you don't need to do this, sisters. You don't.
Yeah.
We could put this in the bin now. This whole lie of, you know, our hair's not good enough, we put it in the bin. So whether we're in the UK, whether we're in the States, whether we're in Africa, you know, we can we can bin it.
It's time.
I absolutely love that y'all are getting ready to start these workshops.
Yes.
If there is not anything else, Tracy and Davina, thank you so much for having this conversation. All of the books information will be in the description, and so will y'all's information. I will see everybody next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Bye.
Bye.